So guys, we wanted to make this video about what TDM actually stands for, because a lot of people don't understand. They think it's just top drawer management, top drawer models, and the other businesses that come underneath that. But really, being a top drawer man is defined in several different ways. I'm going to let Liam introduce it. What would you say constitutes to becoming a top drawer man?
Well, a top drawer man chases excellence in every department of their life. We know that. We also believe that a top drawer man would be the main character and would live life with a relentless pursuit to be better. Not just today, but every single day.
Let's talk about some of the basics of what constitutes to become a top drawer man.
It starts with a presentation. I mean, really and truly, if you want to brand yourself as a top drawer man, you've got to set out as one from your first interactions with people, right? The way that you look, the way that you speak to them, the way that you dress, how you smell. All of these things constitute a top versus a bottom drawer man from the outset.
You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression.
And I think it goes for more than just the way that you look, but also I think the way that you carry yourself, right? We often see people that will have their head down, or people that will slouch in a chair when they're first speaking to somebody. Actually, when you're first interacting with someone, it's super, super important to have an upright posture, a good smell about you, a strong, firm handshake, solid eye contact, a polite greeting in good English. All these things constitute a great first impression for sure. Super
basics, but things that a lot of people get wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Look good, feel good, smell good, taste good. If you've got bad breath and you stink, nobody's going to be interested in doing business with you.
We've seen it firsthand.
Especially girls. Girls are definitely not going to want to spend time with you if you don't at least present yourself well, and they can potentially look up to you as being a better version of.
We've had it ourselves in interviews, haven't we, with people that have turned up with bad breath, or turned up in a scruffy outfit, or saying the wrong things, or in the wrong way, or sitting in the wrong way, putting their feet on a chair, and it's never going to be taken seriously by top drawer men that we define ourselves as. We instantly riddle that sort of stuff out, and so will others.
And the reason that we're so passionate about this, I think, is because society these days is really just missing a lot of the basics. Like a lot of schools are teaching men to become much more feminine. There's not a lot of positive masculinity being taught these days. And I think what we stand for is to make men and boys that are growing up, going through adolescence, becoming men for the first time in their life, giving them that confidence in order to go out and actually achieve their dreams and really like put a dent in the universe. Not everyone's goal is always to go out and make a lot of money, but in today's society, if you don't have money, you can't really do anything. So what do you think about that?
I think the top drawer man would pursue freedom. So whether it be financial freedom, which is something that they already have or working towards, they also need time freedom, they need location freedom. Making money but without having those things isn't valuable. That is not the life of a top drawer man. So free with how they spend their time, free with who they put themselves around, free with their ability to travel, their ability to buy whatever they want, their ability to look after the family. That is the definition of wealth for a top drawer man. It is more than just their bank account number.
I think as well, when it comes to women especially, I don't think women are naturally gold diggers. Like, I hate the word gold digger because I think it's in a woman's instinct to want to have that level of security. Because if they're going to potentially have kids, start a family with you one day, they want to know that you've got good access to good healthcare. Because we all know that things like the NHS that we see here in the UK, it's obviously going to be privatised one day. And ultimately, if you don't have financial resource to be able to make things happen overnight in certain emergencies, then that's going to be a massive turn-off for a woman. And you need to be the type of man that's able to get things done. And I think finances, it doesn't have to be materialistic. It doesn't have to be about buying cars and watches and all the things that you see on social media. But you can do a lot of good things with money. You can help a lot of different people.
Well, going back to the gold digger thing, I think it's just an exchange of value. And to flip the card on its head, you could say that guys are only around because women are beautiful. What's more shallow? You know, they're at least appreciating your hard work in life. Whereas if you're appreciating their beauty, you aren't actually attributing your interest in anything about them other than their exterior look. So what is really more shallow? You know, I don't think it's a case of, oh, well, girls are only hanging around the guys that make money because they're gold diggers. No, they're hanging around the guys that make money because they testimony that to the way that they've lived their life. And ultimately, women are pursuing guys that offer them hypergamy, guys that have achieved a lot. Guys are pursuing women that are beautiful and complement their life. It's the way that the world works. It's an exchange of value. I don't think there's such thing as a gold digger. I think that's just an exchange digger.
Tend to wait at the finish line and pick the winners, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day they know what they want. They want to build a nest, they want to build a family, whereas a man is forever trying to work out what he wants in his life and how he's actually going to get there.
Survival of the fittest. If you're the most beautiful woman, you have to pick out the best man. If you are a high value man, you pick out the most beautiful woman. It's the way that the world works, and it operates on both scales. If it were one way, you could understand the gold digger side of things.
But I also think with money as well, people say it doesn't make you happy, and we strongly disagree on this. I think being a top drawer man would know how to facilitate different adventures and different scenarios that would make him happy through different experiences with either friends or family that only money can buy in this day and age.
Money doesn't buy completeness. It definitely buys happiness. When you retire your parents, when you buy siblings things, when you take your family away, when you treat your girlfriend, or when you are able to be free and spend time with your boys, whatever it might be, that's happiness, and money facilitates that. So to say money doesn't buy happiness is a coping mechanism for those that don't have it. And you'll notice that those that say money doesn't buy happiness are either the rich that want less competition, and so they push you out of the competition realm by making you feel like you shouldn't envy their position, or it's those that are broke that have never experienced it. So ultimately, again, opinion is pretty invalid.
Or the people that don't have the confidence to go out and they make themselves feel better by saying, you know what, like money doesn't make you happy, I don't need it. And that is a coping mechanism for them because they know that they don't have what it takes, or they don't have the discipline in order to actually put the work in.
It definitely doesn't buy love. It definitely doesn't buy completeness. Money in its exclusivity will not complete your life, but it will absolutely and utterly contribute positively to the outcomes if you're a good person.
100%. It's all part and parcel of becoming a top drawer man.
So if a guy who's aspiring to be a top drawer man knows that money is part of the parcel, what else would you say is part of that parcel? Do you think they need a good network?
Network is one of the most important things that you need, because you can't expect to be Rambo and do it yourself. You need people around you. You need people with good intentions and people with your best interests at heart. And if you can be someone that can network for years and years and years, when you finally get to a point where you've got a great idea or you've got a great business, you're going to have all the tools and people around you for you to be able to facilitate that coming into action.
Yeah, I remember you actually telling me that one of the most influential parts of your life was meeting someone who you looked up to and the way that impacted your life. How important is that for somebody who wants to be a top drawer man, to have these mentors and people around them that are able to demonstrate how a top drawer man lives?
Yeah, I mean, we even have mentors today. And if we go back 10 years ago, I had somebody come into my life that was much further ahead of me, and I removed myself from my friendship group at school and the people that were just going out on the weekend, and I started spending time with someone that I looked up to being a top drawer man. And the best way to do that is to essentially keep an open mind, and to cut it short really, because we've got a whole video covering this, really just put yourself out there and don't be scared of embarrassing yourself, because at the end of the day, the right person will give you the time and attention, especially if you're a good person, you've got pure intentions, you're a good communicator, you present yourself well. People will give you the time. You don't necessarily have to have money in order to provide value back. Sometimes just being a good person, being genuine, that is really enough for these people who also have every aspect of their life boxed off.
Yeah, and if we go back to the start of what we discussed here, when you carry those traits, good physical appearance, good speech, people can spend time with you. And sometimes those that are the most successful aren't necessarily always looking for an angle. They're not necessarily looking for you to bring infinite value. They could just want somebody they can trust to be around.
And not only that, they also want to potentially teach people. Everyone likes to pass on the skills that they've learned onto the next person. And if you're someone that's humble and someone that wants to be a sponge, somebody out there will teach you, because we even find ourselves doing it today with the young ones that come through TDM. We're good role models to them, and we get a lot of pleasure and value out of teaching them, something that money can't buy. And I think that's the same for those other people that have also given us pointers, given us tips and pointed us in the right direction, and also expanded our network. As we became more trustworthy, more reliable, we got access to better people, and that broadened our network.
And when you bring one of those people, they likely bring a few more, and then they likely bring a few more. Networking really is a spiral of value, because you meet 3 or 4 people that each have something unique that they can share with you, experience, skill set, other friends, and then they all do the same, and they all do the same. And before you know it, your phone book consists of somebody in every metric of life. You need somebody to do X, cool, Y, cool. Everybody's there. And that as a guy, that as a top drawer man is powerful, and top drawer men will have somebody for everything. We've all met the guy who can't do anything and doesn't know anybody that can do anything and makes no progression. That's an example of a bottom drawer man. But equally, we've come across guys that can not only do everything, but can also find someone to do everything. And that is the demonstration in real time of a good network. And it's not just men that we want to connect with and share value with, it's women as well, right? We want women that complement our life.
100%. And the wrong woman can absolutely ruin your life if you let it happen. I don't believe that a woman would come into your life and have such a negative impact to where it's all her fault. I think as a man, you have to take responsibility and accountability. And if you let somebody dictate or hold you back, that's your fault. But I think it's a good idea as a young guy growing up. I think it's good to have relationships. I think it's good to spin plates. I think it's good to get experience from different type of girls so that you gain confidence within yourself and not only learn about what you want so that you can have a better relationship with your future partner moving forwards, but also understand different types of emotions from different types of girls, and that's going to teach you a lot about life.
There are two key things I always abide by when it comes to women. The key one, the absolute key one, being to add the words "for you" onto everything at the end of any scenario that you find yourself in. Well, she cheated for you. She cheated because you didn't provide everything that she wanted. And you can sit there and say that she had unrealistic expectations, or that she's just the wrong person, she's just toxic, she's narcissistic, whatever you want to make yourself feel better about. But ultimately, there'll be a guy out there that she wouldn't cheat on. And the same way you might say that, oh, she just doesn't have sex on the first date. Again, for you, because there will be a Chad out there that takes her home on the first night. And that is the way that the world works. And if you operate under the framework of "for you," you will take on a completely different perspective when it comes to anything, and you will see the better version of yourself out there to compare yourself to every day.
I think a top drawer man, especially in his younger years, I think a top drawer man wouldn't put a girl first. I think a top drawer man would put himself first, chase his own dreams, chase his own excellence. And when he gets to a point in his life where he's comfortable and happy with his progress, that's when then you can start to potentially put somebody else before you. But to start with, I think a top drawer man should always put himself first. He should never ever put a woman before his own success and hunger and passion to be driven in his work.
But don't underestimate the value of a good woman by your side.
100%.
You know, there are infinite values as a guy having a woman there. They absolutely and utterly can be a complete complement to your life if you, as a top drawer man, demand one, and you, as a top drawer man, maintain one through being a top drawer man.
I think you actually nailed it there. You said something that really, really is something that I stick by, and that is a woman should complement your life, not be the focus. At the end of the day, she needs to be in your frame. You need to be focused on your career, and by doing that, she will be much more attracted to you.
And there's a reason why just 20% of guys have access to 80% of women, and it's because women are stimulated by hypergamy. And it's very rare to find a guy that is truly a top drawer man. But those top drawer men have access to almost all women, because the traits that you are looking for as a woman are aligned with that of the values of a top drawer man. Cam mentioned a word there, framing. This is a huge part of maintaining positive interactions with women. They should be the Churchill and you should be the frame around it. They are the essence and you are the framework. You hold it together. You keep their life structured. You present them in the best light. They are the beautiful essence, and you hold that together. You make it look better, you keep it safe, you keep it secure, and that ultimately is the role of a top drawer man.
Can I just touch on that as well? So what you're talking about there makes a lot of sense. And if you think about it like this, a top drawer man isn't replaceable. Because if it was replaceable, it would be easy for girls to just find top drawer men everywhere. But it's not. The reality is we live in a society where girls find it really, really hard to find a top drawer man, to find someone that's chasing excellence in every department of their life, someone who is the main character. That's what girls dream of. Now, if a girl's just beautiful, guess what? She's replaceable. You might look at a girl being perfect because she's beautiful in the way that she looks, but you know what? There's hundreds of thousands of beautiful girls out there. That makes them replaceable. Same way as if you're just clever. If you're just clever, you're replaceable. If you're just good looking and you look like one of these guys off a reality TV show, you're replaceable. If you're just trustworthy or loyal, you're replaceable. You have to be a multitude of different things in order to become a rare breed. And that's the same when choosing your partner. If she's just beautiful, she's replaceable. So in order for you to have someone that's rare, that's better than all the other girls out there. You need to have a beautiful girl. Maybe she's intelligent, maybe she's loyal, trustworthy. All these different attributes constitute to having a rare, irreplaceable personality.
And irreplaceability in itself is a way to define what being a top drawer man is, right? Top drawer men are irreplaceable. And on that topic, it kind of makes me, again, consider how being irreplaceable impacts other parts of your life as a top drawer man. You need to be somebody who can solve problems. This could be in business. If you are a replaceable leader, they'll just work for somebody else. The same way with women. If you are a replaceable partner, as you mentioned, they will just find somebody else. So a lot of the time, being irreplaceable is down to being able to solve problems. Business as a whole is problem solving. If you solve a problem in business, you have a way to generate revenue. The same goes for most aspects of life. So how important do you think problem solving is for a guy?
I think it's extremely important, because if you can be seen to be competent and to be known as somebody that can just get things done, you're going to be called upon by a lot of different people. It could be different businesses, could be different kind of working relationships, whether it be ex-girlfriends, current partners. Lots of different people are going to want your time and attention. And that's going to be a good thing to know and a good thing to understand, because it's going to give you a lot of character. If you know that you're not replaceable and a lot of people need your time and attention, it's going to increase your confidence and give you a lot of value towards what you think you can be able to provide.
So we need to be shepherds rather than sheep.
Absolutely, be a shepherd, not a sheep.
And additionally as well, as that shepherd, take accountability, own your choices, be responsible. Again, go back to the women that we discussed before, and how if a woman cheats on you, it's your fault. We have that firm belief system, and you've got to carry that through life. It's your fault that things went wrong. Own your choices, take accountability. If you choose to accept that she cheated on you because she's a bad person, you won't change. It will happen again. If you choose to accept that that business failed because you got unlucky, it will happen again. If you choose to adopt the mindset of, that went wrong because I didn't do X right, I didn't work hard enough, I didn't try hard enough to find a solution to the problem that I was presented with, I didn't have sex with my girlfriend enough, I didn't stimulate her emotion enough, I didn't spend enough time with her, whatever it might be that you put that down to, own your choices, take responsibility, be accountable, and the likelihood of the problems coming around for a second time are much slimmer.
Yeah, self-reflection and being in control of your emotions also stem from that as well. I think if you can reflect and understand why things actually happen, rather than just think, oh, why me? I'll feel sorry for myself. Those types of people, they never win, because they always don't feel like, it's like the victim mindset. We always talk about the victim mindset. The victim mindset essentially is defined by someone who always feels like the world is against them. Nothing's their fault. It's always for some external reason as to why that they feel the way that they do, or things that happen in their life for the reasons that happen. But ultimately, you have to take that accountability to say, you know what? If I'd have done it like this, maybe that wouldn't have happened. And having that positivity to know that, okay, well, I can deal with that issue or problem better next time, and learn from your mistakes, or even better, learn from other people's mistakes.
People don't like to sit there and evaluate, why did that go wrong? Where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? Just in the same way when things go well, why did that go well? What attributes did I put forward that contributed positively to this outcome? Or what attributes did I bring to the table that actually damaged the outcome? You consider these things, you start to understand more about your own journey. You start to make patterns. We're systemized individuals that make patterns. That's how we learn skills, and that's how we have traits that we're able to reference. That's how we have abilities in day-to-day life, like riding a bike. We put patterns together muscularly, cognitively. Do the same with outcomes in your life. Understand, what are the patterns when things break down with women? Where am I going wrong? Is it that I always stink? Is it that I can't speak properly? Is it that I haven't got much experience in the bedroom? What part of the relationship is it breaking down in? The same in business. Is it when I get them on the phone? Is it the fact that I can't really conduct a sales call properly because my speech is poor? Is it because I can't maintain a customer because I haven't got a level of personability? I can't come down to people's levels. Understand where things are going wrong, start to put patterns together and work on what it is that you think the problem is. And ultimately the solutions will often present themselves.
Yeah, or choose to be a bottom drawer man and just blame everyone but yourself.
Yeah, that's a good idea. As a bottom drawer man, there must be some sort of invisible ceiling that you see, right? Whereas I think top drawer men, they truly believe that anything's possible. And I don't know whether that's down to the fact that they're looking for motivation. Is it that bottom drawer men are stimulated by motivation and top drawer men are stimulated by discipline? Do you think they have an interaction?
I think it's actually more deep than that. I think it stems from who you're around when you grow up. The kind of first 7 years of your life have a massive impact onto your trajectory as an individual. But moving on past that are things that you can control, right? And motivation is something that you can't always control. It is entirely impossible to be motivated 100% of the time.
It's inconsistent.
And therefore, it's unrealistic to expect to be motivated 100% of the time. So you can't rely on that. You can rely on it sometimes, but there's going to be a lot of the time where you're going to have to rely on discipline. And discipline is something that you learn from a child. If you weren't a very disciplined child and you had no discipline and you weren't very good at being given feedback from teachers and people that were essentially role models in your life, you're going to find it very hard. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible to change today, because it is possible to change. You just have to have the discipline to change. And yes, you might need more discipline than the average person because maybe you had a bad start in life, but that doesn't matter. If you want to change and you're watching this video because you're trying to get some value, you have to understand that these things are so important. And you can't look at us and think, well, it's easy for you guys because you're just motivated because you've got all these things. We didn't always have these things. And it's important to know that we had to have that discipline in order to get to where we are today.
And just cast back to when we were at our first ever office, we had a 3-story house that we rented at the time. In fact, to be honest, it was a nightmare trying to get it because our credit score was pretty poor. We couldn't get a place of work. So, you know, we came from humble beginnings. We worked at the same McDonald's, but we were sat in this house that we'd converted into an office space, and I remember we combined the fact of discipline, 18 hours, with manifestation of Lamborghinis as a home screen on the desktops, and the combination of having that goal, good goal setting, manifestation towards something, understanding the law of attraction and working towards a goal, but also being grounded enough to still get in the trenches, work 18 hours and graft. Ultimately, that's a recipe for success, I think, as a top drawer man.
I think if you truly believe, we all talk about how powerful the mind is, look at how much things there are on the mind out there, videos and books and things like that, but it's so powerful. And even just thinking about what you want, you can achieve it based upon simple changes in your life, such as positive thoughts. Positive thoughts will have a massive influence in your life, whether it's to do with work, whether it's to do with relationships, whether it's to do with family, and just every sort of situation you find yourself in. You'll find that the most negative people that you come across are people that always have a bad look on things. Whereas if you've got a positive look on things and you're trying to manifest the next thing that you want, whether that's to retire your parents, buy a car, buy a house, wherever it might be, just the simple things, change your phone screen, write down some of your goals, read it, look at it every single day and actually understand what it is that you want from the world. And cosmic ordering is another part of manifestation. Cosmic ordering is where you actually tell the universe what you want and the universe will in turn give you that. So it's a powerful thing to practice.
I never used to believe in it, actually.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us do it without realizing. You might think it's overly spiritual.
Yeah, but that I can relate to. I definitely never sat there and read into it and kind of operated with a frame of mind of, well, I'm going to order things from the universe. But I did naturally just think, you know what, that Lambo is really cool, and I made it my home screen. And you used to build GT3 RSs on the Porsche website.
Yeah, that's true. So that's the form of manifestation because you're looking into what you desire.
In fact, that was one of the many things that I used to do amongst watching Car Wow and all sorts of things. I mean, you guys probably are aware of our car collection. It's a huge part of our personalities. We love cars, and ultimately it stems from passion. You know, we're every day working towards X or Y car, and we discuss it. And you know, if you had all of this money, how would you spend it? What cars would you buy? And you start to think as kids, this is, you know, how exactly am I going to get there? And eventually you start to put the pieces together and it starts to all kind of contribute towards this goal. And then it's a case of not getting comfortable. Then it's a case of avoiding complacency and maintaining an aspiration of the next mountain to climb. I always understood an analogy quite well around the mountain ranges, right? You get to the top of one peak, you kind of have to head back down, but eventually you're going to be on another one, likely a bigger one. If not, maybe a small one, then a big one. You're always on a journey of ups and downs, and ultimately I think if you get to the top of the peak that you're currently on, it's very, very, very rare that you can't see a bigger peak. And that should be the frame of mind that you carry in every walk of life. When you have something good, okay, well, look around. What's the next point upwards, and how exactly do you map out the journey there?
The problem is though, I find that a lot of people will say, oh, I'll never own a car like that. Their mindset is so negative, and people don't generally think it's possible. And that is what holds a lot of people back. I think just the mindset of not understanding that it is possible and the average person can do it. It's just you have to become average into somebody, and the only way that you can make that transition is by having the aspiration, and it starts within the mind. What practically happens after that and the work that you put in is going to be down to your own discipline, but it all starts in the mind.
People are literally cosmic cancelling their orders.
Yeah, 100%.
Aspiration and complacency is actually a hugely important part of not only becoming a top drawer man, but maintaining that top drawer manhood that you now have. If you carry the traits of a top drawer man, well, you have to continue to carry them. There's no point in getting somewhere if you're going to fall off. So understanding the value of being able to maintain the traits that you've now got as a top drawer man is equally as important. And I think one part of that is shifting your understanding of how the world that you're in has now changed. As a top drawer man, it's a different environment. People's intentions around you aren't always the same. Not everybody's got the same pure heart around you that they always had, where they just wanted to spend time. Maybe they've got an angle, maybe they want something. How do you think people's intentions around you change as a top drawer man?
Well, if we talk about top drawer man as someone that's made a lot of money, for example, from our point of view, I think you're constantly learning new things about yourself. Coming into money, I think, is not suitable for everyone, because not everyone's in a stable frame of mind to where they can actually handle it. I think because we've naturally transitioned into something that we've wanted for so long, it happened very authentically. And I've been around money for a while. I worked in the yachting industry, and even when I was broke, working surrounded by billionaires, I started to see how degenerate some people could be with money. And I started to realize that a lot of these people are flawed. They're actually not top drawer men. Like, you can have all the money in the world, you could be a billionaire, own a yacht, and still be a bottom drawer man. If you're treating women with disingenuine intentions, you're not a good person to be around, you're a negative person. All of these things can really bring down your character. And I think what we've had to learn is we've had to transition into becoming not only top drawer men, but also understanding how we can also influence the people now that are below us, to also bring them up with us. Because instead of looking down on people like most people do when they come into money, we've actually tried to take on people that were important to us in our own life and bring them up with us.
And it's an interesting point, because I think a lot of people forget where they came from. You know, they don't have that ability to remember what life was like before they made money or before they got their fortune. They had good people around them that they didn't treasure. They've now got more exciting people that they shouldn't treasure around them.
I think you can get lost and you can get put into the wrong crowd as well. There's been certain instances and situations where we've been close to spending time with the wrong types of people, and we've had to pull ourselves out to it, put it back to...
It is actually easily done, because as an entrepreneur as well, it is quite exciting. Like, we're no different to anybody else. We're the same two guys that came from nothing, worked at McDonald's. We're the same as everybody else. You know, we're learning as we go. Sometimes you get a little bit excited. It's, oh, I never thought I'd get the chance to meet a billionaire or this person. And then you're in the environment, and then you kind of snap out of it, and you go back to being that top drawer man and remembering that not everybody's intentions are pure. Remember where you came from. Hold yourself accountable to who you're around at all times. And I think that's why we hired pretty much all our high school friends and all of our friends from different aspects of our life, and operate a team at TDM that we truly can trust. And I don't think that there are many people, you know, that make multiple millions a month that can comfortably say their team are people that they can truly trust with their life. I don't think that's something that many people
honestly don't think there's any teams out there like TDM. And I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I know the world's a big place. I honestly don't think there's many teams out there like TDM. Just for what we stand for, the types of people that we have, the trust and the love and passion inside of the office is truly unbelievable.
And it actually contributes positively to what we're talking about here, that does, in terms of being a top drawer man and having the best people around you, because you can't have a bad egg in our business. There are no bad apples in the basket, because organically they'd fall out. There is a team of other people that are watching like a hawk as though they were us, because they're loyal to us, because we've given them a lifeline. And as a result, you've got a team of hundreds of people that all have the same agenda to be a part of the same team of passionate family. there is absolutely no opportunity for somebody to come in and unsettle what's there. So the likelihood of us dealing with those sort of problems is slimmer because we've been accountable to who we put ourselves around. And that is testimony again to top drawer manhood. Have people around you that have your back. Genuine people, not exciting people, not people with big following, not people that are beautiful, people that you can trust.
And truly, the only reason that we've been able to do that is because we don't expect or ask anybody to do anything that we're not prepared to do ourselves. We don't look down on anyone. Everyone's on the same level in our eyes, and really that's how it should be, because when we're in situations and we see people that talk down on people, we cringe inside and we think, why does it have to be like that?
We've seen it firsthand. You work for me.
I've been in situations in those environments, in military essentially situations where you dictated to by a captain or someone or a chief officer, and you talk down upon like shit, as if you're not worthy of a human being compared to them. So it's really bad management.
Well, look at last night, right? I picked out one of the guys that was working in the office and said, look, let's have a game of pool. The loser has to buy the other one a car on Auto Trader. It was the cheapest possible car. It was absolute shitbox. But the level of entertainment for everybody in the office, the level of bond that you can build when you have that sort of banter, and in what business really is the director prepared to go in and have that kind of relationship with the staff on the ground? It doesn't happen. And that video is going to follow. There will be that car because we're men of our word as top drawer men. So
another way that you could also compare this as well is look at a lot of companies. A lot of companies have a massive turnover of staff. I worked in recruitment, and it's unbelievable how some of these companies are some of the biggest companies in the world, and they're literally just churning through staff. They don't have any sort of staff that have a level of pride in the business. So the only reason that we have the pride in the business, I truly believe, is because we actually give a fuck. We care about people's lives. It's not just about work. It's about making them better people, helping them with their personal situations, their personal issues. Because look, none of us are perfect. We're not perfect. We don't expect to be perfect. But what we do expect is for people to chase excellence, and a top drawer man should always be seen as chasing excellence in his own life. And even though we're all on different journeys and we're all in different lanes, as long as you're in your own lane and you've got positive trajectory within your own life, that's all that matters.
yeah, I think you nailed it, to be honest. And it's really difficult because you could talk for hours about Top Drawer Manhood because there are so many more things that we haven't even covered. Link to Top Drawer Man in the description. We'll see you guys there.